Good morning from Seattle. We're on our 18th day of talking about legal blogging, and we're doing it in the format of legal blogging book, 45 chapters long. We're doing this Facebook Live, so we get some context and actually text that we can use in putting together a book to outline the effective legal blogging. There's some good information out there, but I think there's probably more information out there that is misguided than helpful for lawyers. So hopefully we can get some of the better information together based on 16 years of guiding lawyers on blogging. Today we're talking about pictures and images in blog posts. When blogging started, there were very few, if any, images in blog posts. You may have had people sharing pictures and then providing some context as to what the pictures were about as they were logging their activity on the web, which provided us the name weblog and abbreviated to blog when this all came about. Today, pictures are everywhere. And so if you go to a publication, or a magazine online, it's all about pictures. And pictures add some pop, they add some context, they add some pleasure, they add some emotion. And I think they can almost become to be expected at this point in time. What are we talking about? The location of the pictures in your blog post? Two separate things. And my writing is just gosh awful. But we're talking about body versus featured. The body of the post is obviously where your text is, where you're writing your post and putting an image in there. That's a good place to put it from the standpoint that it breaks up the monotony of just reading all this text. One of the first books that came out on writing for the internet back in '96 was emphasized the concept of making things scannable. Can I open it up and scan through it? Can you break things up into very short paragraphs, bullets? Break up this body of text. The image can do that. So the image can just sit in there someplace and break it up. Maybe the image has text wrapping around it, that type of thing, to just break up that text. And it can look very, very nice if you're doing that. Featured image is an image that you embed in the top. It doesn't mean it's in the body of the post where you place it in the post when you're sitting in WordPress. It means that your publishing environment has something marked featured image, and then you drop the image into that featured image area, and then that image will actually sit in a separate cell, if you will, than the body of the text, up on top of the text. So that works out pretty nice to be able to do that. The source for your images, can be anything. I think a lot of people today use Unsplash, and just go to unsplash.com, do a search for what you're thinking about, and you're probably going to find things. Other people use stock image libraries. The problem with using stock image libraries is you're going to run into a lot of canned stuff that people use over and over again. I remember years ago, at LexisNexis, Martin DeHubble, figuring out images for the new lawyers.com site, and everybody's in the room picking out the perfect one. Gee, we got the woman in the blue dress with the pearls. This is going to be so great, so unique, and that becomes the cover of the site. Then all of a sudden, it's all over the internet on other sites. So you got to be careful what you're grabbing. It can just be more monotonous, almost marketing, if you will, stock stuff. If we're talking about the virus, just another person in a mask or another doctor, those type of things, it can get pretty monotonous to people. You can take images. You can go out with your iPhone and take images. Now there's an issue about who you include in those images, but you can take images of things. You can get them from various places. Just going to Google search and picking out images, you might be violating people's copyrights and find out later on that somebody will make a claim on that. But there's plenty of places to get images. You can just do a search, where can I get images for my blog, and find endless supply of things. Let's talk about featured images just as to the value of those. If you're using a featured image, what a feature image is going to do is going to show up in the social sharing. So when you go to share your post at LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, that's going to come in there. And that's really important because that's what draws people's attention when they go through these things. And when I'm sharing a post, into a place like, Twitter, and I use an application Buffer, my featured image, if I'm using one, is going to be displayed in the back end of Buffer. I check a box, boom, it goes up there with the text of the particular tweet. on Facebook, that image is going to have a nice pop, and so you're going to have, maybe 2 paragraphs short of text in Facebook, and you're going to have the pop of this image, and you're going to have the title of your post below it. Similar type of thing with LinkedIn. So you get good value with that featured image. Your image in the body of the post might show up, and it can when you put it in the body, but not necessarily as clean and as nice as when you're using a featured image. And it is going to be eye-catching when you do that. Think about the image for a few seconds. I mean, and quite frankly, I think sometimes, I've been guilty of this. The blog post maybe takes me 25 minutes to write. The next thing I know, I'm spending 25 minutes finding the perfect image, and it just is what it is. I've also done things where the images have just provided a sense of comfort and professionalism at times. So I may have taken, rowboats on a lake, or mountains, or prairies, or barns, or, winter scenes. And that type of thing can look very nice. It doesn't have to match up that I'm writing about some particular legal tech issue. It's just complementing what I'm, this time, or my emotions, my feelings, that I'm going to exhibit. Lawyers don't do a lot of that, but it can be done. In the body of the post, as I mentioned, be thinking about how it breaks up the text, and how you need to add context when you're doing that. So when you're bringing it in, you're breaking up the text, figure out where that's going to be, so break up the text, and then be thinking about the image adding context. So is it related to the context itself? So that way you are, what you're writing about is what's depicted in the post. Again, I do more crazy things just to try to be different after blogging for 16 or 17 years, but I don't think you need to do that sort of thing. What you need to be focused on is getting a picture that is in context with the body of what you're writing about. You need to know about the use of images when you're starting to use it. Don't just go in and say, okay, there's the image, boom, it goes in there, and it looks awful when it gets in there. You're a professional. It doesn't take but a little bit of time to find out how to right-size the image, as far as vertical, horizontal, placement on the page, those type of things. The same for a featured image. A featured image is going to have on your blog that it is certain height and certain width. And what you can do is there's easy applications. I have an application on my iPad. All I got to do is open a photo and push a button. It drops into there, and then I just push another button and it's resized for that image. Done. Save as a photo. And now I've got that photo ready to be featured as a featured image. It's easy to do. But you need to know that it exists. If you need help doing it, and you're part of the LexBlog community, just give us a call or drop us an email or open up your chat window, and we'll show you how to do that, and we'll give you some information on that. Last thing I want to mention today, and that's pretty much it on images, is the Blog for Good campaign, which is continuing to grow. I think I saw this morning a report from late yesterday that there's 26 new blog publications on the LexBlog network that continue to feed in this network of ongoing content that's relevant to the trying times that we're having today. That is issues relating to the pandemic, to the virus, to social justice, Black Lives Matter. And it's really amazing to me to watch how many people continue to blog. I mean, there's just been this discussion that blogs are out of vogue, or that lawyers aren't blogging as much, or that all the topics are covered. It's so far from being true. So many lawyers are continuing to blog. So many lawyers are adding new blogs, and some of the blogs that have been that joined the LexBlog network, I've included blogs that recently came out of the New York City Bar Association, where they're receiving the new 20 by LexBlog, which basically represents everything that we've been doing for 16 years as far as blogging, and provides people a good professional blog solution. So we're going to keep hammering away on Blog for Good. I don't think that campaign is going to go away for a long time. I think we're going to be talking about it next year. But if you're interested in participating in Blog for Good, get your blog inside LexBlog so that it's syndicated across the net. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're part of a bar association that is participating in Blog for Good and you're not blogging, you've got a free blog. And very easy to participate. If you ever want to know anything about it, you just drop me a personal note. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care.